Good evening. So I have to start out with a little disclaimer, legal purposes. I am not a financial advisor. I don't advise people financial stuff or anything like that. And I'm not giving any advice or anything like that. I am just talking about my own personal experience because there's a lot of craziness going on right now in the banking system, and the only thing I can say is I'm killing it. I am absolutely killing it. Man, I've been hearing about these losses and that losses all day, and it just proves that I chose the right path of investment. Yeah, it would seem that if you have no money, you can't lose money. So the way I look at it, I'm doing ahead. I'm ahead, right? Because any money that I get from here on out isn't money I lost because of the banks. So that's a good thing. So again, not financial advice, but you can't lose your money if you're already broke. It's just don't take that financial advice. It's probably not that good. If you have nothing to lose, that's what I'm saying, Banks can keep on falling. I actually personally don't have a bank account, so as in at all, period. But fun times. Fun times. Lots of craziness, as I'm sure you've heard. It's not, at least today so far, hasn't seemed to be the end of the world or anything like that. Kind of watching over things today. Of course, there's a lot of talk, a lot of concern, and I'm sure a reason to be concerned because this is going to affect us one way or another, no matter what. But if it isn't D-Day for the dollar, then it is what it is. So that's why I said, yesterday when I talked about it, I wasn't going to be all freaked out, and because I had a feeling it was just going to be another boogeyman of the week. See, it's not just, it's a combination of, I'm going to use the term content creators because that's perfect. That is the perfect term for it. Content creators. I think they're being led around by the nose. It's crazy because I had asked this question multiple times. With the whole COVID thing, everybody kind of wised up and they didn't trust anything that came from the media. And then all of a sudden, now with train derailments and balloons and all of that, it's got to be true. All the danger, all the fear, all the risk. The stuff that we kept looking at them during the COVID debacle going, I think they're leading people around by the nose. I'm not saying, because, I've long said that we're in for a rough time financially. I don't think it's going to be an overnight kind of thing. Not that quick on, you know what I mean? I think we have a lot more troubles to face before we reach the dropping point, if you will, of the U.S. dollar, meaning it no longer being a viable currency. It's not viable now, but you know what I'm saying. At least some people are still bullshitted enough to use it, so as long as that's the case, oh, man. So anyway, other than that, I did a little bit of flying earlier, just playing around, learning how to do different things with camera angles and stuff. So I actually got something pretty cool, man. The arch, the gateway arch. It's right there. I know you can kind of barely see it, but I'm over here for reasons and stuff. So anyway, I'm just going to turn the sound back up and click play. And it's coming down through here. It came down through the arch. Yep, there it is. That is an F-22 hitting Mach 1 right as it passes the camera. So, anyway, I thought I'd have some fun. I'm trying to figure out how to get set up right to really get some good shots. And then I'm going to start making some decent little videos. So, but I got to figure out how to use this stuff first, the different tools they have for doing it. So, anyway. So, I don't have a whole lot of headlines, or I should say articles up. I've got 4 articles up. There wasn't there was a fair amount of headlines today. But, of course, a lot of them involving the financial stuff. Apparently, Xi Jinping is getting ready to make his rounds. I guess he's talking about going to both Ukraine and Russia. And visiting both the countries, so we'll see. China has came out on multiple occasions and offered to be an intermediary in between Russia and Ukraine. And, well, of course, it hasn't happened as of yet, but we'll see what happens as a result of this, of these meetings. Now, to me, that's a trip to think that Xi Jinping might actually be the one that quells this. Now, I'm not saying that that's necessarily automatically going to be generic and authentic. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure much of it is put on for the world stage, but something definitely to think about, something definitely to kind of keep an eye out for. I would say it's much more likely at this point that China would be able to get them to come to an agreement before the United States or Germany or, pretty much any of the UK or EU. It's just a messed up situation, and I think a lot of it's crooked. Yeah, I'm not talking about the China part of it either. I'm talking about the U.S. and Ukraine part of it. I think there's a whole hell of a lot of crookedness that's going on there. And there are so many rabbit holes that we could fill up our time diving into, and some of them just really aren't worth it. Because, you might be able to come up with answers, but they're really not going to help you in any way, so what's the point? But, man, if people started digging into some of these politicians' kids and stuff like that, because apparently most of these bigger politicians' kids wind up involved in some kind of business with some kind of foreign corporation or something, and get wrapped up in it. Well, it seems to be that there was a whole lot of that going on in Ukraine. And again, it's not rabbit holes that I've dove in to really know a lot of good case and points to give you, because I can't. Of course, you do know about the Hunter stuff and Ukrainian businesses and stuff. So that and the big guy. Can't forget about the big guy. Mr. Sniffer Ice Cream Eater. But from my understanding, it's a normal thing for pretty much all the kids of the more well-known I think I thought I'd heard something about even Ashley was involved in businesses or whatever over there. So was it Clinton's kids, I think, or something I heard too that were involved in some way over there. And then possibly the Bushes, I heard, were involved over there. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. And, then you get on this whole deal, like with during the campaigns and stuff, like the whole Russia bullshit. Hillary and, what's that hack's name? I can't remember his name. But Hillary and Harry Reid and a whole bunch of other ones were knee deep in Ukrainian uranium one. Close enough, right? Uranium one and all of that nonsense, and that involved Russian corporations and stuff like that. So that was when they were coming out, and I'm not taking sides on any of this. I'm just mentioning observations. When they came out against Trump so much about the whole Russia thing, it just absolutely made no sense to me, because I actually seen, and it to be honest, it pissed me off. And I'm just going by, hey, let's say that what we see on the surface is the way that it really is. You guys know I don't believe that for a second, but let's pretend. So let's say it is as it appears, and Trump actually came out 10 times harder against Russia because of the bullshit that he was being accused of. Trump was pretty damned hard on Russia. And again, that's just if you go by what we're supposed to be thinking. It made no sense to me when, again, people like Harry Reid and the Clintons and so many other, the Bushes, and all wrapped up in this uranium one crap. And it's incredible. Same thing is true when it comes to China, because there are a lot of politicians and a lot of individuals close to politicians that are knee deep in business with companies over there. I have a hard time. That's why I have a hard time believing that what's really going on is what we are seeing on the surface. I don't believe it for a second, because it doesn't add up. There are so many things that doesn't add up. We're still importing oil from Russia. We never stopped importing oil from Russia. It's a big joke. It's a big joke. I'm not saying that we won't be in conflict. I'm not saying that there won't be wars. I'm saying I think they're doing it as a ruse to bring us all down around the world and into the new system that they want to put us in. Been saying this for over a decade. Been saying this was how they were going to bring us down for over a decade. They were going to use things like no grid, no power grid. They were going to use things like war. They were going to use things like food shortages, rising prices, rising unemployment. And when I say rising unemployment, I mean less and less jobs. I don't know. I do know that looks a bit dark. I would do what I've been saying, again, for over a decade. Put back what you can and get ready. That's all you can do. You can't stop what's coming. And worrying yourself to death over it isn't going to do a damn thing either. The only thing that's going to do something is action. Even if you can't move like a leopard or whatever, even if you got to move like a turtle, get moving. Keep moving. It is what it is. We haven't been able to put back, a ton of stuff all at once. It's been a long, I'm going to say long and grueling, because it's taken a while to put back what we have. And in all reality, there's a whole lot more that we'd be good to have. But it is what it is. I'm very confident that I put back more than the average guy. So, we'll see. Anyway, many of you are here because you're highly concerned about your ass. I know. Me too. In fact, I don't even know what the article contains because I haven't really read it yet. So, my butt's been puckered up waiting to do the article. What? I hope you guys don't mind if I do a little bit of coke tonight during the show. But pardon me if I get the ice cubes caught in my nose. All right, let's talk about toilet paper. Dangers posed by toilet paper exposed. I knew it. Toilet paper worldwide contains per and polyfluoroalkyl substances, or we'll just call them PFAs. Let's call them PFAs. They may be a major source of water pollution. A new study by researchers at the University of Florida suggests. According to the study, published by the Environmental Science and Technology Letters Journal, the team tested rolls from 21 major toilet paper brands sold in the Americas, Africa, and Europe, as well as sewage samples from 8 wastewater treatment plants in Florida. Both toilet paper and sewage sludge turned out to contain PFAs, with so-called DIPAPs. Man, specifically 6-2-fluorotelomere phosphate diester. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. 6-2 DIPAP. I was like, oh my God, what are they going to do? I don't got a clue what the hell that's supposed to be telling us, but we'll make it sound good anyway, right? Found to be the most abundant compound. Well, there you have it. Based on the findings, available data on PFAS levels in sewage per capita toilet paper usage in other countries, the researchers estimated that toilet paper can contribute to 89% of the 6-2 DIPAP in wastewater in France. France, I've got an argument with that, as well as to 35% in Sweden. At the same time, the hygienic implement is responsible for only about 4% of the compound in wastewaters in Canada and the U.S., according to the study. Now, hold up. Hold the phone, Because I thought those folks in France use those little butthole water squirty things to clean their buttocks with. You know? Dude, that would just, I don't know. That just seems wrong to me. I don't know. Call me an American, but that just seems something kind of wrong. I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, so beyond that, if they do at least have a percentage of people that amounts to anything that use a bidet over there, why do they still got so many PFAs? I don't know. We better get Scooby on this. Buy him a big old bag of weed and... let's see. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna kill us, but you know, I wonder if the organization or the company that donated money for this study happens to sell bidets. I don't know, it's just a thought. That's how it would be done here in the U.S. It's absolutely how it would be done here in the U.S. They do it all the time. The whole drug testing thing, pre-employment drug testing thing, the truth behind that, they didn't give a damn about your safety. It was politicians and friends of politicians that own the damn testing companies. They profited from it. It just went right on down the line. Private businesses started investing heavily into the prison system, and it's insane. That's a whole nother set of rabbit holes you can go down. Insane. And that even goes from adults to juveniles to you name it. It's a nightmare. It ties into judges that were sending kids that really didn't do anything that bad. They were sending them to detention centers for stupid amounts of time, and because their buddies was getting money from the government, from the state or federal government, whichever, for incarcerating the children. There's several instances of it that you can look up. Absolutely mind-blowing. Have to watch studies. You always have to make sure you look yourself for the information, because a lot of times, especially if they're trying to tell you they're trying to help you, you need to be suspicious. Let's see. I thought this seemed a little bit of a concerning statement. Ex-U.S. official discusses destroying Taiwan chip plants. Like, as in us destroying the Taiwan chip plants. I was like, whoa. Said Washington is so determined to prevent China from seizing control of Taiwan's semiconductor industry that it would destroy the chip factories in the event of an invasion by Beijing's forces, former U.S. National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien said on Monday. The United States and its allies are never going to let those factories fall into Chinese hands, O'Brien told the online media outlet Semaphore. Allowing China to capture the plants would make the Chinese Communist Party like the new OPEC of silicon chips, enabling it to control the world economy, he added. Now remember, I said back when they first started taking their trips over there, like when they first announced Pelosi was going to go over there, And then even before Pelosi got a chance to go over there, a bunch of others, more lower ones on the totem pole, went over there. And as I said back then, I thought what they were doing was, yes, we had people representing the U.S. that were flying over there. But I have this sneaky suspicion that while our people were over there, I have a suspicion that they were loading those planes up with equipment to bring back to the United States. Equipment, especially equipment, the most vital for the most chips kind of thing. I'm still pretty positive they're probably doing that. And who knows? On the way out, they might be taking whatever they would need to destroy those plants. So it's really, I could definitely see the tactical reason for doing that. Anyway, let me go ahead and continue. It says O'Brien, who served as National Security Advisor under President Donald Trump from 2019 to January 2021, didn't specify whether it was official U.S. policy at any point to raise Taiwanese semiconductor factories to deter Beijing. Asked whether the plants would really be gone in such a scenario, he said, "I can't imagine they'd be intact." Taiwan's TSMC is the world's dominant maker of advanced computer chips, supplying around 90% of the most cutting-edge semiconductors globally. President Joe Biden's administration has sought to block China's efforts to become a bigger player in the chip industry, restricting exports of chips and semiconductor-making equipment. Washington considers China's technological advancement a threat to U.S. national security. Chinese officials have argued that the U.S. weaponization and politicization of science and technology won't stop their country's progress. The Chinese Foreign Ministry has predicted that such tactics will isolate and backfire on the U.S. Kind of like everything else has been. A U.S. Army War College paper in 2021 argued that Taiwan should threaten to sabotage its chip plants to deter Beijing. Even if China got a hold of the golden hen, it won't be able to lay golden eggs, Chen Mingtong, Director General of Taiwan's National Security Bureau said last October, suggesting that Beijing wouldn't be able to operate the factories anyway. So, the rest just goes into the history there, but it's a possibility. I can definitely see the tactical advantage in doing so. But I also think that they're trying to get as much stuff as they can back here to be able to make sure that they can continue to put those out. So anyway, let's see, where is this? New Guinea, Papua New Guinea, a 6.3 earthquake. When did that? 11 minutes ago is when I got the email. All right, let's see. I have a couple of vapes. Got another one dealing with Taiwan here. I'm sorry, I didn't really have much up. I mean, I could have put other stuff up, but it's just like I hate sitting there repeating stuff over and over and over. I did that for a long time with COVID, and then what the hell was it right after COVID? It was just a nightmare. Ukraine, duh. And was there a car, or was that her snoring? Oh, crap. I think I woke her up. Oh, no. Damn it. It's coming. It's coming. Because I woke her up. It's just... I am horrible. I am a horrible dad. She's tired. She did a bunch of... Well, she She focused hard on laying around today, so she's tired. Anyway, Taiwan braces for total blockade, says media. Taiwanese military leaders have reportedly warned that Chinese forces are preparing for a total blockade of the Taiwan Strait to prevent foreign troops from gaining access to the self-governing island in the event of a war. Defense spending this summer must focus on the blockade threat, earmarking funds to stockpile spare parts for F-16 fighter jets and other weaponry, the Taiwanese Defense Ministry said on Monday in a report seeking parliamentary budget approval. Since last year, the ministry has been reviewing its strategic fuel reserves and its capacity to repair equipment, said Reuters, which obtained a copy of the report. Taiwanese military will also need to replenish its stores of artillery shells and rockets to strengthen combat continuity, the ministry said. China's military has been conducting joint force operations with an eye to controlling strategic choke points and denying access to foreign forces. Recently, the Communist military's exercise and training model has been adjusted from a single military type to joint operations of land, sea, air, and rocket forces, the report added. And it goes into the history of the stuff going on. But we've been told that they have been continuing to move forward with this. Man, I've got a bunch of stuff on my desktop I got to delete. It's getting crazy again already, and I just redid Windows. Let's see. I've been messing around with a lot of videos lately, doing a lot more than I used to. I do like that new little intro though. I think that's pretty cool. Uh-oh. I didn't do it. This one. You guys are gonna love me, I know it. It was in Australia. I love it. Anyway, speaking of missiles and big booms, let's see. North Korea conducts first of its kind missile test. Well, I guess I offended her because she went to the other side of the futon and laid down. Let's see. Let's see. The Democratic People's Republic of Korea has launched cruise missiles from a submarine in what is believed to be the first test of its kind for Pyongyang. It came days after the country's supreme leader Kim Jong-un called on his armed forces to gear up for real combat amid increased military activity by the U.S. and South Korea on the peninsula. In a report published on Monday, the Korean Central News Agency revealed that the underwater launching drill of strategic cruise missiles was staged at dawn on March 12th, according to the DPRK's state-run media outlet. The test confirmed the reliability of the weapon. The two rockets traveled 1,500 kilometers before successfully hitting their intended targets in the Sea of Japan, known as the Korean East Sea, and North Korea, KCNA reported. The article concluded by proclaiming that the launch clearly showed the invariable stand of the Korean People's Army to control with its overwhelming powerful force the situation on and around the Korean peninsula in the face of increased U.S.-South Korea military activity in the region. The media outlet explained that Pyongyang is thus seeking to ensure that it has different delivery options for its nuclear war deterrence means. Let's see, it goes into history there. It's all history stuff. Here it says, explaining the need for the show of force, Washington and Seoul cited a growing threat from the DPRK, which fired a record number of missiles in 2022, Earlier this year, the two allies held more military exercises, some of which involved using America's B-52H strategic bombers. North Korea insists the drills are nothing short of preparation for an attack. Meanwhile, last Thursday, Kim Jong-un told his troops that they should be ready to fight any time and be prepared for real actions rather than words, as quoted by KCNA. So, we'll see. Is it just banter? I think for the most part, it's just the same typical banter. But, he does possess the ability to poke us in the eye now. So we probably ought to take his banter a little bit more seriously. Even if it does mean we just have to bitch slap him. Because, he'd better sneak it in. That's all I can say. He'd better sneak it in, and I hope he's got a deep hole to hide in. And I'm not your typical puff your chest out American that thinks that we can kick anybody's ass. No, quite the contrary. But I'm pretty positive we could put a stomping on North Korea. Now, as far as a land battle, no, you just nuke them bastards, because, yeah, I have a feeling that and this is not downplaying anything with Vietnam, but I have a feeling that Vietnam, for the most part, would be a cakewalk compared to what troops would run into in North Korea. The different kind of people, and I'm not, when I talk about this stuff, I don't mean any disrespect or anything. I'm just speaking from the information that I've been told over the years. Same with the Iranians. These are people that are born and bred for war. And we are not. We are not. We are quite far on the other side of the spectrum. So that's why I don't get too excited about puffing my chest up and thinking about how we can kick everybody's ass, because I'm real enough to realize just how much we've been pampered and spoiled, and I know I'm not saying everybody's had, or I'm not saying anybody has had an easy life. But I can speak for myself when I say that it could have been a whole hell of a lot worse. I can guarantee you that. I am thankful that I haven't had to go through what so many people have had to. But anyway, I don't think we would fare well. I just don't. And I'm talking land battle. As far as if he snuck one in and poked us in the eye, I think it would be a smoldering brush pile by morning. So I'm not even quite sure how successful he could be in poking us in the eye. But now, if he got something into the Gulf, he could poke us in the eye. Or if he got something close enough off the coast, a sub close enough off our coast, yeah, he could poke us. Especially with an EMP, because that's only half the trip. Okay, anyway, U.S. exports to Russia plunged to 30-year low, says data. U.S. privately urged traders to resume shipments of Russian oil, says Financial Times. Wasn't I talking about that earlier? I think I was talking about that earlier. Navalny documentary wins Oscar. Russian diesel heading to Saudi Arabia, says Reuters. Boy, those sanctions are hurting them. Especially when we're still buying the oil, too. Seoul's mayor makes nuclear weapons call. Rocket shot down over Russian city, says Belgorod governor. Moscow admits it doesn't know who attacked Nord Stream. Hang on. Okay. Oh, no, that's actually, hang on. We got some diesel today, so I have my lullaby heater to put me to bed tonight. Hang on, I'm turning it back up a little bit. I noticed the electric heaters are on, so I thought it was up high enough. Anyway, it ought to be good. I thought it was up high enough that they didn't need to kick on, but alright, continuing on. Third U.S. crypto bank collapses. German diplomatic giants suggest way to resolve Ukrainian conflict. Germany is not an independent nation, says Moscow. Xi Jinping to visit Moscow soon, says Reuters. I mentioned that earlier. The Ukraine one's going to be in here as well. U.S. dollar slides amid banking turmoil. Trump warns of new Great Depression. Kremlin explains its only option in Ukraine. Sunak announces UK nuke plans. Kremlin laughs off Kiev's renaming plan. Russia's trade surplus hits record high. Ukraine ranks third largest global arms importer, says a study. No way. Russian conscription age to change. Here's the other one here. Xi Jinping to speak with Zelensky, says Wall Street Journal. Oh, it says speak with. For some reason, I thought he was possibly going to go there, so I could be wrong then. So, but he can speak. Cryptocurrencies rally amid U.S. banking crisis. U.S. banking panic rattles European markets. Former Prime Minister could be arrested after threatening judge. Ukraine conflict turned into video game. Let's see. U.S. wages war against Russia sanctions evasion brokers. Or something like that. Whatever the hell I mean. Russia agrees to extend Ukraine grain deal. Covered that. EU may introduce its own foreign agents law, says Politico. Charles Schwab leads U.S. financial sector wipeout. European country replicates U.S. law. Washington opposes it as Russian. That sounds normal. Hundreds surge across U.S.-Mexico bridge. Iran pardons 22,000 protesters. Taiwan braces for... Oh, I covered that one. Document reveals why Canada arms Saudi Arabia, says media. Zelensky, I thought this was crazy. Zelensky backs expulsion of Christian monks. Let's see. Biden sides with oil over climate activists. I think he was probably just, confused, having another dimension moment. I mean, it's not like it's uncommon. BBC gets £20 million. That's pound. Boost from UK government. Ukraine objects to Navalny film Oscar win. Well, who cares? Biden hints at national transgender law. Let's see. British PM, it's not waterboarding if you use something else. I'm just saying. I mean, motor oil boarding, I don't know, vegetable oil. I'm thinking just oil would be good. Mineral oil boarding, that would be a good time. That would be a real good time. British PM responds to private pool criticism. A Serbian minister rebuked over Russia comments. And lastly, details of AUKUS nuclear sub-deal revealed. Yay. That is it, yo. I am ready to go. I'm just ready to go to bed. I'm lame. I'm like totally boring. So my excitement is I get to go to bed. Yay. Sleep. How do you know when you're old? When you look forward to going to bed. Well, let me clarify that. Because for a whole lot of my life, I looked forward to going to bed. But a good part of it wasn't for going to sleep. So, I figured I better clarify that. Alright, I am out of here. I am tired. I will see you folks tomorrow, God willing. I appreciate you coming. I hope to see you again tomorrow. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.